Yo, back at you
Yeah.
one more time. Peace, power, and prosperity. I got my comrade and brother, Kamau Ozain, on the line. And of course, you know I'm Yafeuh Balogun, street reporter. Street reporter. We're going to have some street reporting episodes coming out pretty soon. Some shorts and all that good stuff. But I got Kamau Ozain on. And think about Kamau Ozain, he been rocking and rolling since I met him, at least with me personally, I think in 2010. Is that right?
Late. If it's 2010, it's gonna be late 2010, early part of 2011.
Ah, right on, right on. So, Kamau Zhang was a part of Gorilla Mindframe. He's also part of a number of different groups, organizations. It's always a pleasure to have Kamau Zhang and be in his presence and talk to him, etc. He's a real good brother. I really want to just kind of throw some randomness out on the on this live here and just see if you remember these moments. I think one
It,
of the
it,
moments. Go ahead.
if I may, brother, before you get started, let me say the sentiment is the same to you, brother.
Like,
You've been consistent with your work, with your commitment to the people, to the struggle, to liberation, and you are the example, uh, as far as I'm concerned, of uh, a consistent pillar and member and working man of the community.
appreciate that, brother. Much respect, much respect. Um, I just wanted to kind of jog back some times that we had together. Let me see. One of them that I know that you were personally on, and you was part of that conversation. And of course, it's not to be critical of anybody or anything of that nature. That's not what this purpose is. But this is kind of one of those intimate conversations that we did have collectively. That without you kind of being on the line here, kind of hard to verify and validate. But you remember when we had the situation with Barrett. First situation with Barrett happened March 20th, 2016. The second situation happened April 2nd. Now, between the first and the second, there was, we kind of was, correct me if I'm wrong, we was at Lacey House and we sort of celebrated. Tell me about the feeling that you had after the first experience with Bear when we came back, and because you remember the first time they didn't show up for whatever reason. They didn't show up, and we was kind of excited about that. At least I was. What was your feelings after that first time dealing with Bear when they didn't show up?
Permission to speak freely.
Go ahead.
I mean, I ain't gonna say what I was gonna say, but them
No,
men
go
was
ahead. Say
spooked.
what you gonna say. No hold
Nah,
bar. No hold bar.
them crackers was spooked, man. Uh, they wouldn't, they was a no show, and so we counted that as victory for the people. At that time they were going into Arabic mosque and Arabic areas with guns and protesting and for them to have to regroup on a first attempt, we considered them scary,
Right.
and so at Lacey's house we definitely counted it as a win and prepared for the next
Yeah, yeah. I think we got back to Lacey House and we had like a party. I remember Ricky Perry particularly was like dancing around. Ricky Perry, he get into it. Yeah, he was dancing around and we were just all in good motion. You know what I'm saying? We was all in good
good
motion.
spirits. Because
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
we were ready, and for them to flake out like that, we definitely considered it as cowardice. Because even if you're wrong in your stance, stand on your stance, and by y'all not showing up, y'all was able to scare a lot of people in Richardson, Texas, and Arlington, Irving, and them type of areas, Plano, them type of areas. But y'all had a second thought when it came to Oak Cliff and South Dallas.
Exactly, 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 exactly. The second attempt, I remember we was part of some conversations. We ain't got to put folks' names out there, anything of that nature, but I remember being on the phone conversation and having to try to convince folks that hey,
Yes,
we
sir.
got a deal with Brian. And I remember you was right there with it. If you could, we ain't got to mention no names, anything of that nature. That's not what it's about. But what was the basis of that conversation where folks was kind of saw another side of it where we didn't see it? Go ahead, just jog my memory back, jog our
I,
listeners' memory back.
I can't speak on the perception and understanding of those who didn't see the necessity in appearing and showing opposition to racists and bigots who thought that it would be a good idea to come to South Dallas and try to intimidate. And you correct me if I'm wrong. Mosque 48.
Yeah, yeah,
Mosque 48 come there with intentions to disrupt the harmony in our community. So during that conversation, we had to make it plainly understood that uh, that action would not be tolerated. And so for the brothers who may have been and sisters that may have been lackluster at the time when we received the news that they were coming to Mosque 48, myself, my brother Yafeuh, who were adamant about showing opposition. Just plainly, to me, I don't recall what was said verbatim, brother. But I knew that our position was we need to be there. We need to bring this to the community's attention. We need to have all hands on deck from all coalitions, and that's what I strongly remember in regards to the conversation. So ultimately, it was understood that that we needed to be there in unison and confront BAIR head on.
right, right, right. And so just to put some context on the folks, I know me and Kamau, we talk about this kind of stuff all the time when we talk. We're talking about the conflict that took place with BAIR, which is Bureau Against Islamic Relations, and which was an armed right wing group that was that was making appearances at different locations in the Dallas Fort Worth area, and they decided to come to South Dallas. And believe it or not, it was actually the BBC that actually told us in advance that BAIR was going to make an appearance, or else they would have made the appearance without us knowing. So, as you see how the media can also agitate issues, definitely agitation there. They advised us, and then we started trying to organize. But what else I was going to say? Um, the second time when BAIR came, which was April 2nd, 2016. If you could and you can give it how you want to, no formality, or you can give it straight, however you see fit. What's your basic rundown on how that day went on April 2nd? Pretty much from the moment you got up to the moment that you was out there. What was your recollection of how that played out?
I remember you and I definitely having conversation before showing up. I remember preparing. Um, we were discussing formation. Um, I remember feeling. I, I remember feeling. Uh, what's the word I'm looking for? It wasn't like a nervous feeling. You know how you know something is gonna go your way. Like how you just know,
Right.
like we just knew that the people weren't going to stand for BAIR. And before everything took place, you and I were sitting in conversation in the car, and we were in South Dallas, and we were seeing DPD uh, come into formation. We was able to see armored vehicles. We started seeing multiple patrol cars come down. I believe was that MLK? Was that the street that we were on?
Right. Yeah, it was MLK.
Okay, yes, sir. As we were in the vehicle off of MLK, just discussing how things were going to go, we see the formation of DPD, again armored vehicles. We see helicopters, but most importantly, we see the people coming outside. We see the people, trying to figure out what's going on. So they know something is happening because of the amount of police in the area. So and I might be skipping around a little bit. Forgive me, brother. Um, but ultimately, uh, when things came to a head, there were and uh, I know, of course, GMF in attendance, the New Black Panther Party, Sister Muhammad's fraction of the New Black Panther Party were in attendance. Who am I missing? I'm missing some other people. You on mute, brother.
Nah, you not you didn't miss any people.
Okay, okay. So starting to see our fractions, get in order, share intel, and in the way that we were going to be positioned. Ultimately, what you saw and what you felt was a intense energy of Black African opposition to police, to BAIR. When BAIR finally appeared, and correct me if I'm wrong, brother, it looked as though it was only about 6 to 9 of their members who were brave enough to exit their vehicles and take formation. We say uh, to those few members that were brave enough to exit their vehicles and get into formation, we applaud your bravery because we saw multiple of your members keep it pushing. We saw many of your fellow members who were supposed to stand in line and in league with you to protest Mos 48. Keep driving right through once they saw the amount of unison and unity amongst Africans that were there in attendance. In addition to the 6 to 9 members of BAIR that were able to get into formation, we saw immediately how DPD built somewhat of a barricade and acted as security for BAIR. And so, which we were not surprised about racist pigs being in league with other racist civilians. That's not a surprise to us. We took note again of the armored vehicles, the helicopters, and even snipers that were placed on vehicles. Were they there for us or the oppressive threat known as BAIR? We never got an answer to that. But seeing the people come outside their homes, some of them armed, us being armed, of course, and pushing this threat out of their area. They were not there long at all. Pushing this threat out of their area was a great example and representation of how we should handle all oppressive forces that look to target African or Black men, women, and children. I hope I wasn't long-winded there, brother. I can't hear you, brother. Oh, so uh, ultimately, what happened was, again, BAIR wasn't there long. They ended up departing. We had the people in the streets cheering. It was a moment of just, I think, overall joy to see us back these ignorant men down. If you remember during that time, again, there was footage being shown via the news of how they were going inside a mosque, how they were interrupting services, having conflict and just disdain for people who have a different background and understanding of worship. And they were able to gain a lot of space with those people because they weren't willing to have conflict with BAIR. But when BAIR decided to come to South Dallas off of Martin Luther King that day in April, they were met immediately. And had DPD not been in place, don't want to say what could have happened or what would have happened, but six to nine members of BAIR versus a whole community and other military trained Black men and women. I don't foresee it going well for them at all that day. So thank goodness that DPD was there for them, because we had to show that unity is the answer when dealing with these racist pigs. So
Yep.
that's what I recall.
Hey, that's a good summation. You know what? I like to I like to get different folks' perspectives on like what occurred. Reason being, because I spent a little bit of time myself, kind of running it down, at least from my perspective. And it's just always good to get another person's perspective on how they perceive, the I guess the what happened that particular day. Because for us, it's part of our story, and the primary reason for even having this conversation is to have it documented. Because your perspective is very valuable. So outside of that, I do want to kind of quickly make mention, and you can kind of give us a rundown on it. If you choose, you dealt with herbs, and you currently deal with herbs, and you were kind of if from my understanding, as far as your function with us, which was many different things, but what you especially dealt with was uh, living healthy, working out, and making sure we eat the right foods. And even today, I just saw you yesterday. I know your primary foods are vegetables and fruits. If you can just kind of tell us a little bit about that, about your experience as far as with us as with that, trying to correct our capacity to eat hot Cheetos on Thursday nights.
Uh, indeed. Once I got my footing inside of GMF, the great brothers and sisters of the organization decided to make me somewhat of a minister of health. I was able to accept that role due to obtaining my certification through Indigenous Remedies, community-based institution
Right.
that teaches the use of herbal. Excuse me, of herbal medicine and remedies, learning different parts of plants and herbs that you use to, treat illness or even just for maintenance purposes, not necessarily because you have something going wrong, but just to prevent anything from going wrong. Um, so uh, just putting brothers and sisters on knowledge in regards to that science. Yeah, we most of us, I think we were vegetarians at least. I don't know if we had any vegans, but I think we definitely practice vegetarianism because we see that um, our people are being destroyed through food. Um, the lack of healthy foods in our areas, food deserts. Not nothing new, of course, but still a prevalent issue within our community. And so the, uh, the focus in regards to health regarding GMF was that you want to eat healthy foods. You want to have a diet of fruits and vegetables. You want to be hydrated. You want to stay away from sugar and flour. You want to stay away from milk and dairy, as these things take toll on your joints, on your muscles. Mucus or dairy causes mucus buildup. So those things we were trying to educate the people on. And even to this day, we I know Yafeuh still, very much so a vegetarian. And I actually backslid a little bit at the early part of this year, but I'm back on track here. So I did a little fish, but nothing
Man, that
more
fish
than that.
good, boy. What you talking about?
It was good. It was good, but it didn't feel right, So I've been back on my heavy lentil stews, but just with the focus of health, we need to all be active. We have a misconception that you got to be in the gym all day, and you got to be pumping iron, and that's not the case. You can do 30 minutes, an hour of just calisthenics. And I say an hour for those who, want a more intense, but, just, even just 20, 30 minutes of calisthenic workouts, some light, jogging, running. Yafeo is a runner and I'm not. And so for me, I had to get my cardio in via cycling. So I, went and purchased a bike. So, we push and apply a focus to health because obviously it's the key to longevity. So uh, yeah, if you're looking to stay in shape, if you're looking and not even whatever your goals are, whatever that is for you, you know, um, find you a workout routine that you do, if not every day, every other day. Make sure that instead of you getting that bag of chips, the Doritos and Cheetos or whatever, that you look for that you look for a healthier alternative. There's kale chips. I know that even plantain chips. So I know that if you're in our area, if you live in an urban area, like I said, the health foods are kind of scarce. I think we have one health food store for all of what South Dallas and Oak Cliff, Ann's Health Food Store. Is there another one that you could think of?
No, that's about it, really.
That's about it. So not a Sprouts or a Whole Foods or whatever else that you may have. Um, so you kind of have to go and take that extra mile to make sure that you're maintaining a healthy lifestyle. Was there a specific point you wanted me to touch on in regards to that, brother?
No, not really, not really. I just want
Okay.
to.
Yeah.
I
No.
just
I mean,
want
I get you.
to.
No. It just we we need to be healthy. We have McDonald's everywhere. We have a Wendy's on every block. We got Church's Chicken and Popeyes everywhere, and that's not food. It's feeding families. True enough. We don't want anybody hungry, but in the long scheme of things, when you are getting up in age, if you've been eating burgers your whole life, you've been eating red meat, you've been eating a ton of pork, and you 30 years old with high blood pressure, or what I'm saying, you're pushing 40, 50 years old and you got gout, you know what I mean, or you got diabetes. These are um, ailments that are uh, systematically constructed to plague our people. And so GMF, definitely spearheaded a consistent program of GMAP, which was uh, uh, our physical fitness program. And so incorporating, of course, again, with fruits and vegetables, hydration, that's what we attempted to bring forth to the people.
Yeah, most definitely, most definitely. Yeah, that was an excellent summation of exactly what we wanted to really discuss and kind of break down with you. Um, we gotta have you back because I want to discuss some other things with you, but I really just I really want to kind of talk about your perspectives with Bear, and I'm glad to kind of get your perspectives. And this is something that we can continuously revisit because, uh, as you know, we got a book coming out called We Are Balogun, which encompasses at least I feel from our perspective, or at least my perspective, on like how things took effect, how it occurred, how it happened, and obviously there's going to be some slight critical points of view, from other folks' perspective, but I'll let to be taken in and very much so appreciated. It helps the overall conversation. The only folks that's ever going to document our movement and write about our movement from my perspective is actually going to come from us. So that's the purpose. Outside of that, Kamau Ozain, we appreciate you. You have like any closing thoughts, anything of that nature?
I am in full agreement with you that the perspective of our story would absolutely need to come from us. I love what you're doing, brother. As I stated, you have been the most consistent member activist that I know. Um, uh, and I know it took me a little bit to come on your show or to do the interview, but absolutely would love to come back in the future. I definitely enjoyed this, and I know the situation with Bear uh, was such at least for us, I would say, a monumentous achievement, and just looking racism and bigotry and ignorance in his face, and telling them, no, I'm not here. I know that there was a lot of things that we probably overlooked in this interview. So yeah, absolutely. I would like to revisit it. But I guess any closing statements to the
That's
people
it.
is,
Yeah.
oh, my bad. Just keep pushing forward. Don't quit the fight. I know a lot of us have gotten older. We've had families, but there's still a lot of work to be done. There's still a lot of youth that are coming up, and they're seeing the system for what it was. I know a lot of us or me me specifically, I didn't start really becoming quote unquote conscious or aware until I was around 18, 19. And we now have youth who are uh, in involved in their communities at a much younger age than us. So it's on our shoulders to continue to provide areas of education to school our youth so that they can become the future, the future leaders and the future soldiers and the future aligners of this movement.
Most definitely, most definitely. Well, peace, power, and prosperity to you and to everybody here. If you can do us a big favor, like, share, and subscribe. Big thing is subscribing, and and we'll continue this conversation later. We appreciate y'all. Holla back.
Peace.